I wonder if we could just start our conversation by talking a bit about how you came to make that.
The Syrian uprising started in 2011, 15th of March. Every year, I try to make something to commemorate the people who lost their lives. When it came to the 10th anniversary, I was determined. I really wanted to do something. So I thought, okay, what was starting the Syrian uprising is this graffiti of these young people dare to speak their mind. Simultaneously, I was exhibiting something in the Fitzwilliam Museum with Aleppo soap that I sculpted blindfolded. Equally, I was working with a poem called Leave to Remain a Single Syrian Grain Airborne. So I thought, here is another material to work with. It started to take shape. This was a process that culminated in this form. If I have to do it now, I'm sure I will do something else.
I noticed you were using your left hand as well as your right in the performance. And also you chose to be blindfolded. So I'm wondering whether it put you into a different space in your head.
The question of being actually blindfolded, I have to rely on the question of touch. And I have to rely on the frame of the paper to guide me where I am located. I think that one is using things that is not to take them for granted, because we do take our senses for granted. So being deprived from them, they were much more heightened. I felt that that restriction created something much richer canvas. The question of the right and the left hand, I am right-handed, and I'm really interested in this idea that is we overtrain ourselves. This is the overtrained adults. This is the child, the primitive, the untrained. By using the left hand, I was really trying to evoke this idea of the innocent child making these marks, and then the adults dictating what to erase and what to tear and what to destruct. I am not interested in one reading. I am interested in this multiple reading. So this is partly why I used both hands.
I'm quite interested in the links between the different works that you've made and how you've chosen to make them.
Of course, I have the history of the burning matches. The matches of one of my other pieces where I constructed a refugee camp and surrounded by burnt matches. The amount of the burnt matches reflects the amount of days since the Syrian uprising. So it became, if you like, counting, where in another occasion I started burning the matches in a performance called Strike. So it became a symbol of a barrel bomb. For the boats particularly, they became the representation of many issues of refugees. People are coming from different parts of the world and they carry their trauma with them. I felt the burnt part of the match is what one is carrying this trauma with. For me, the body of work I have done about Syria, they are all one piece. But they are taking different articulation.
All this work that you create eventually become the victim, of being burned is something that is very, very powerful.
For me now, I feel the burning of it is actually one of the chapters of the piece. Now is the ash itself is a very powerful piece. And the idea that is now this ash would become something else. So the ash is in memory not only of the drawing, but in memory of the people who lost their lives. But I am planning to do a brick out of this ash to a memory of future generations who are going to rebuild the country.
And of course, you collaborated with the composer and the singer to do your performance.
The minute they chose the 18th stanza, and it's starting with sweltering desert, that was a very beautiful choice. Having that line created a very powerful bridge between the inside where I was doing, and I have to take everything outside to burn it. There was total silence, and that silence made a wonderful canvas for the poem to appear and block the scene of the fire and creating the sound. So something is coming down with the words and the voice is up.
I wondered whether you feel that the actual process of making art is a healing process for you.
I could easily rush and say yes, but I don't want to. Because healing, from my point of view, it's never complete. It is always a process and a very long process. So I feel very strongly that each time you make an artwork, you don't solve an issue, you create another issue, you create another question. So I feel I really don't want to look at it in a very touristic way and say, yes, that's it, I have done it, I feel much better. The opposite, I feel I have done something, now it's actually what is next. The question of being a refugee, sometimes it is because of war, but equally it could be because ecology or disasters. And of course, a quick fix is just to give people homes and food. But actually, there is much more important trauma that is the hidden, and the idea of giving people warmth and ears and just being touched by others. This is what one needs to. As an artist, my job is definitely to put something on the table for people to make their own stories. This is the poem that it's mentioned in my performance, and it's actually this is my own poem, and it is found poem, and it is 366 lines. It took me a year to do it, and it's really collected many different thoughts and many different ideas to make this piece as an art piece. It's taking the shape of my passport in English and in Arabic. The composer and the singer actually choose stanza 18, and I'm just going to take you to stanza 19, and it says, leave to remain at Kiliti stations in Budapest. Leave to remain in squalid limbo. Leave to remain hungry, despairing. Leave to remain they took to the roads. Leave to remain walking from Hungary. Leave to remain razor wire fences. Leave to remain searching for a gap, a hope. Leave to remain a new name. Leave to remain a new tongue. 20. Leave to remain Tempelhof. Leave to remain runways, no flights. Leave to remain long tarmac. Leave to remain home for shallow roots. Leave to remain vast camp. Leave to remain little intimacy. Leave to remain an ectopic pregnancy, singing into pain's depth. Leave to remain a life halted. Leave to remain the walls' borders went dark.